How y'all doing? How y'all doing? It's another it's another Friday. It's 100 degrees outside. Woo! And it's a packed house in here. Yes. But anyway, so we got a special event tonight. Instead of having one feature, we're gonna have everyone everyone who's here. Wow, excuse my tongue. Gotta love it. Just got off 9 to 5. But anyway, everyone who's here present's gonna feature, perform one, maybe two poems, maybe even three if you want to. Okay. So first up on the mic, we got the homie Mateo Vela.
Hi everybody, it's good to be back. Supporting Sacred Voices now, as it's known. Whoop whoop. Okay, so I don't really know which poem I want to do. So like, do you guys want a sad poem or a really sad poem? Super sad. Okay, I'll start with the really long sad one, and then we'll do a short sad one. And that's the only reason why one is sadder than the other. So, alrighty. Give me just 1 second. Is this the full poem? Who knows? I think it is. Okay, all right. I want to perform this one because, one of my past mentors and teachers is here and just hasn't seen any of my work in a while. So here we go. All right. This is how I've been feeling since we haven't been, talking. Okay. So this one's called Cosmic. We used to say our love was cosmic. Your last letter to me, a hand-traced rendition of Tezcatlipoca on a bright orange placard, said we felt ancient together. You had wrote that you had had a dream. You, me, on a beach in San Francisco with him. You didn't know what that meant, but you knew I had always wanted to move to California and that he was the Aztec god of self-reflection. I knew how much you loved the sea. You had hoped that he could help me through whatever I was going through. You always spoke like that, simple yet understanding, a contrast to my constant noise and need to comprehend. I remember our trip to San Francisco, where you held my hand at the edge of the Pacific and said, I want you to meet my mother. The clouds parted and the ocean grew warm at our feet as if to offer us her blessing. I thought of the oceans our parents, our ancestors had crossed for us to meet, how warmly they must have smiled down on us then. I think of the blessings our mothers gave us, your mom shuffling hurriedly around the house, uneasy with premonition. You asked, ¿Qué traes, mamá? And she answered with her maternal intuition, Tú y Mateo se van a casar. I think of my mom giving us a ride back to your house when she joked we might adopt children and give them a good home if you didn't want to bear them. And in this quiet way, I knew she liked you too. So if our love was cosmic, and I do believe that it was, then our break was all the more earth-shattering. I have struggled to write this poem, this epic, for the past years since. It was never easy for me to write a love poem for you, as I am a perfectionist at heart. So I wrote so many it pains me you may never get to see. To string together our love into a coherent composition would have been to imply that our love was anything but timeless. It was a crisscrossing of lifetimes I could never contain. Truth be told, I never thought we would end, so I never thought to write one. Part of me still doesn't believe we have. As we used to say, time doesn't exist. But as indignant as I am, I'm only human, and the grief I have felt for your loss has been one of the greatest wonders of my world and demands I approximate the feeling nonetheless. So, we were two astronauts, plunging headfirst into the sun, and wasn't it so warm? You made my heart leap. I would have broiled just to be close to you. I paid no attention to the warning signs, this radioactive heat, threatening to poison us, destroy us if we flew too close. I had never felt a touch, light and pure as yours. Past loves had heavy hands, left me sun-seared. My skin grew thick with scars. If it were up to me, I would have held on till our future became stardust. We were two astronauts headed straight into oblivion, a place you knew we wouldn't come back from. So thank you. Thank you for leaving before we burned out, before there was nothing left to come back for. The day you left me, a chain broke our gridlock. You bounded one way, I the other, us, two astronauts cut from the shuttle. You said, I love you and want to keep loving you, time and place willing, but we can't do this right now, the way we both are. I remember our last kiss in front of your house. I looked first at your closed eyes, then the darkness surrounding your silhouette, the sun dipping low and out of reach. How cold I felt then. The heartache deep as lineage torn by the seams. My shame bitter as your mother's tears when you broke the news. I didn't know how to tell my mom, so it took me a week. ¿Todavía no se amaban? Didn't you two still love each other? She asked me, as if love were so simple for families like ours. We were both just depressed and we weren't growing anymore. It takes more than love to stay together. This is what I said. My mother, in a depressed marriage for over 30 years, did not understand, and she asked no more questions. We tried to remain friends for 2 months after our break, and I kept my distance. For as much as I longed for you, the temptation to rebound never trumped the respect that I had for you, the desire I had for the both of us to grow. A self-destructive hookup could have never compared to the beautiful love we shared. I regret trying to talk about what went wrong before the dust had settled. I was stubborn as a magnet, trying hard to connect, but you repelled from me, bounded the other way. How naive to think I could process your loss in a mere 2 months. Would have taken me a revolution around the sun to accept, to try once again to twist fate and my intuitions for an idealistic vision. For as beautiful as our love was, and even if you returned, we will never be the same. We can't be. And this, I know now, is for the best. Yeah. Right? Like, that's what it takes to heal, y'all. You gotta write about it. I feel a lot better now. I will say that. I wrote that a few months ago, so like it's out of my system. But that being said, here's another sad poem. Where is it at? Hold up. Oh, here it is. It's also like super melodramatic. Kind of also talks about space and like having your heart broken on like a ancestral, cosmic level. So this is just about a gift that I received and how I look at it now and what I'm thinking about it now. It's called The Tale of How the Moon Swallowed the Sun and Burst into Flames. Above my bed used to hang the paper mache mosaic you bought me in Cuba, a colorful portrait of the moon cresting the sun. Subconsciously, my brain came to see your likeness in her visage. Full figure, long lash strokes, deep red lipstick, a mystic look painted in her single eye. Hanging below her, on an array of strings, a star jubilant and beaming with a bright-eyed fish and a playful seahorse. I picked up the moon, her star and her creatures, and I tucked them away into a dark nightstand. I put out their light. I do not yet know if I will burn them or let their faces collect dust. When all of this is said and done, and I have moved on, I guess a death by dust or ashes is the same fate anyway. Strange, isn't it? The sun never got a face. Woo! All right, so now coming up to the stage, Bree Hill.
That was cute. We're just going to introduce each other. I don't know who's coming up next. All right. Cool. I'm going to do 2 poems. I don't know if they're sad or not, but y'all tell me if they're sad. You say probably. I'm dead. All right. The first one is a list. So here is a list of everything you should do if I die an early death. 1, know if my death is sudden, involved with the police, homophobia, transphobia, or domestic violence, I did not kill myself. 2, do not call my family. Allow them to mourn the loss of a woman they've loved who has been gone for a long time now. 3, have my funeral in the South, outside of a church I've never been to. Allow children to roll in the grass without care, put grandmas and aunties under shades of willow trees, allow uncles and cousins to play spades and dominoes, give them iced tea and peaches to consume. 4, have a huge gospel choir singing for me. I want them adorned in gold from head to toe. I want the ones who catch the Holy Ghost every 2 minutes because this is my culture. Being extra, being loved and wrapped in pure religion. 5, have an open casket, but let nobody under the age of 10 come and see me. 6, let my body have the wedding it is so longed for with the sun. 7, I want a sermon. Let people come up and talk about the memories of us. Let them take the whole day if they need it. 8, I want art of Black, queer, and trans folks to be auctioned off. Please do not let my history of being Black, being queer, and being trans get erased. I will haunt you if you do. 9, there will be no gendering of bodies. My body has been a fugitive of the binary for years now. Everyone will be required to wear white robes. 10, wrap me in linen cloth that has been soaked in beet juice and wine for 20 days. I want my body to resemble the blood my ancestors shed for me. 11, have a bonfire. Let everyone have a torch, even the children. Let them burn their love into my corpse. The embers will be my final embrace. 12, collect the ashes. Some way, somehow integrate them into coral. I want to be placed in the middle passage of the Atlantic Ocean. Allow me my time with my ancestors. 13, mourn my life, but celebrate it always. I want the ones who feel guilt and shame and heartbreak to be taken care of. Go to their house, cook them a meal, tell them I would have wanted them to be happy. 14, pray to me if you want to. I will be your God. I will have all the knowledge from my grandmother when you finally need me. Cool. And then the next one, I didn't really title it. I feel like I should title my poems, but who has time for that? Cool. I'm gonna jump straight into it. If I could tell you anything, I would tell you that this brown soiled filled skin of mine bears the stories of resilience, brilliance, and joy. It has endured 250 years of batter, abuse, and dehumanization to get to me. Crossed oceans that other skins have failed. They were plucked from the sky, engulfed in waves, traded their hinds for emerald blue scales. I will tell you that my skin is lonely, hungry for salty waters. The skin still calls the Atlantic home. If I could tell you anything, my hair would be the next topic. I would tell you stories of how rice was once braided into scalps like mine to provide food and lessons from each stolen generation. I would tell you the versatility of my roots, from cornrows to box braids to flats to twists to wash and goes to, let me not tell you all my secrets now. The coils and curls from each 4C strand is a halo crafted by the prettiest of angels, and they will tell you personally that my hair is not up for grabs. If I could tell you anything, I would tell you that I am incredibly skilled in code switching. I mean, walking differently. I mean, talking differently. I mean, not wearing hoodies. I mean, not making eye contact for more than 5 seconds. I mean, keeping my head down, saying yes, ma'am, and yes, sir. I mean, keeping white people comfortable. What I meant to say is I'm incredibly skilled in surviving. If I could tell you anything, I would tell you that God has a gap tooth and big lips that have proven to me that love exists. I would tell you that God has big arms, has a garden bigger than Central Park, eats watermelon in the sun, drips sweet golden sweat, and says child and baby doll to the birds and bees, and that she controls the waves of oceans and rearranges planets with her hips. I would tell you that God is a Black woman. God is in fact my grandmother, and I have witnessed her glory. If I could tell you anything, I would tell you that this body of mine has been a fugitive of the binary for 3 years, ducking and dodging the hits of heteronormativity. It's defiant and exists as an other, free to choose and to be controlled by one narrative. This body is a fugitive of the state and the government and the whole damn idea of the United States of America. I mean, America KKK. I learned this from Asada. I was told this by Malcolm. I was shown this by Marsha. This Black body of mine pledged allegiance to no one but Yamema and Oshun. If I could tell you anything, I would tell you that people like me have become target practice for the red, white, and blue. I would tell you that police have taken the spots of monsters underneath my little cousin's bed. Prison wardens lurk in their closets, and I'm scared too. I'm terrified to breathe. I'm scared to open the closet and face the lies that you could tell me anything. Ashe.
Give it up again for Mateo and Bree. Holding it down, kicking this off right. So, any takers to go next? Franklin? Yeah, if you want. There's no list. Give it up for Franklin.
Cool. I am. That's true. There's height to these bones. So the poem I'm sharing is a poem I wrote a little bit ago. I wrote it specifically because I had this show where there was just going to be a bunch of dudes there. And I was just going to call out dudes, you know. Because, you know, it's just like about time, you know. And so a lot of it comes just from like my personal experience of like conversations and things that have happened when just talking regularly with cis dudes. So, right. Desde chico, women have always been my friends. Maybe the fact that I was gay had everything to do with it. Maybe it was the fact that men had mostly nothing positive to do with who I am today. To date, I can only think of 2 men who have had a positive influence in my life, and isn't that the saddest line ever? Ain't it as old as mythologies, though? Stories we know all too well. Characters sitting right at home or inside ourselves. I cannot remember a time where men were hella emotionally available and shit. Same can be said about any gender, but I only speak about what I know, and what I know is I know more personal male friends exposed to be sexually assaultive than I care to remind myself of. I cannot think of too many straight men who can have a conversation with a gay man about gay sex without being concerned that he'll be the least bit associated with being interested in gay sex. Most straight guys can hug your gay guy friend because it's socially acceptable to, but not your straight guy friend. And I mean a real, mean something kind of hug. And isn't that how it's always been? And ain't that the stupidest justification? Crazy how most of us know it depends on how we raise our boys, what we give them permission to be. Like who told us that we can stand up, taking up space, squaring up to no one? Manspreading, a word that needed to be made to explain the phenomenon that men must spread themselves as if proving a damn thing. Like this is comfort, but masculinely. Or mansplaining, another needed word to explain a phenomenon I see at home between me and my friends, or me and my siblings. I, who deign to believe I am a feminist too, cannot escape a culture as slick as our ego, because nothing can touch a man who think ain't him, ain't an ego thicker than not me, or the amazing not all guys kind of guys. Taking criticism undefended isn't masculine. Admitting to a pattern isn't masculine. Believing in cycles means you believe in vulnerability, and we never told men they're permitted to feel that, especially in public, and especially unashamed. Why do you think I hang out with my tías instead? I am tired of the silent, aburrido man circle. Las platicadas con solo sal, or las conversaciones sin sabor. I'm a man sweet like starfruit, discovered after a journey through my masculinity, made by the women who showed me that femininity is the power when masculinity eventually fails. My father was raised pulling the sun up the mountain for sunrise, and sometimes that man had to haul down the moon for moonset. And to this day is relearning how to express himself when he needs it, how to express his emotions in a healthy way. To date, we have only started hugging for real a few years ago, and saying I love you finally feels natural out in public. Even he, criado en el rancho con maíz, learned that the past fathers weren't the best teachers. That the belt wasn't a lesson on discipline, but survival and later forgiveness. That being strong and never weak put men on a trail of 2 paths. Why do you think we get set off course so easy? No human is meant to be restricted to lanes. We're nomads by nature. Cultivating my masculinity over time, I've learned you need my consent to make me feel less than a man, and you ain't never getting that. My masculinity can cook pozole and cambiar aceite. My masculinity can fight and swim. My masculinity learns and fights. My masculinity is damn near feminine. My femininity is damn near masculine. Most days it's both. That's because I gave myself permission to be. That's why most guys can't speak this honestly in public, unless they figure out that they have to be strong enough to give themselves permission to be this honest in their life. If they consider themselves a true man, or if they want to set themselves free. yeah, talking about all the things. Because legitimately, the funniest thing I would always find is like girls or guys, we'd be talking in a circle, and eventually like the cis guys would start, or the cis guys would start talking about the girls that they've been with and all of that. And I was like, oh, we're having a conversation about this? Perfect. Let me tell you about this guy I was with. Conversation, boom. Dead. And I'm just like, wait, I thought we were talking about all our extracurricular activities that we were doing. And like, I don't understand what's going on. And then they're like, no, but you brought in a new player, and that's not fair. We don't play by those games. And I was like, I don't understand what just happened. Exactly. Bum, 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 bum. Reject that challenge, right? That's usually what happened. They're like, be an open-minded individual who's talking about the extracurricular activities? Nah. Like that. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. This next poem I'm going to share is a freestyle. Are we doing more than one round? Yeah, we're doing more than one round. So I will do more poems later on. I'm going to do poems because I'm finally starting to be able to talk about the immigration crisis that has happened. No lie, I was one of those people who had to check out during that because that hit way too close to home. And so it was one of those things where I legitimately could not click the key or like see here thing, the filter that Facebook has, because I was like, nope. That's going to send me into a half-hour dissociative session, and there's going to be a half-hour having to come back session. And then whatever I was doing, we can process that an hour later. I was like, no, like I legitimately, for my own sake, cannot do this. And so I finally started, like, I knew the stories that were happening, but I finally started checking in on, like, actually watching stuff and actually, like, looking at things and, like, sadly enough, watching bodies, right? And being like, okay, I am now ready to look at bodies. Right, and keep in mind this has been a crisis for a minute now, so it's still hard for me to talk about. But I feel like I definitely need to talk about it simply because I'm one of those people who's gifted with words. So if I can't even talk about it, how the hell is anyone else going to talk about it, right? So let's see if I cry or not. Cool. Legitimately. These days, I'm so grateful to be at home with my family again. Say what you want about a 27-year-old living at home with his family, but in my culture, you are never supposed to leave until you get married. Meaning, until you start your own life, you can stay here. And what a wonderful sentiment to have a forever home. To have a place where you know that these bones, these genes, this laughter, this stupidity, we all share. And you could be around a kitchen and see past all the barriers and social stigmas and just see family. When we're here, my sisters are not sisters. They're the ones who will chin check you if you say something stupid. Here, my brother is not a brother. He is the one who has surpassed his own demons and has come out with his own angel wings with a little bit of tinge of black at the end. He has shown all of us that sometimes you do have to fight because he learned it from our parents. He was the last one to actually be born in Mexico. And he has the mark to prove it. And all of us born here wish we had that Chihuahuenza mark, that little vaccine, the dip in the arm that lets you know you are a true Mexican, born there. And so all of us can immediately tell who is from the other side and who is not. And isn't it crazy that you have to literally disrobe someone for a Mexican to tell a Mexican where they're actually from and believe it and have physical proof? And yet you have this whole wall and all of these policies telling people they do not belong here without even knowing their name, without even knowing their history. Most people cannot remember the 1950s, let alone the US's entire stake taking over Latin America for all of their agricultural businesses, taking from them their land, from families and indigenous people, siphoning all of that money back to the US, and then you wonder why countries were left destabilized. And then you wonder why their citizens 4 generations later are still struggling through that initial poverty and are just wondering how they're gonna get bread today. And are wondering if it's safe enough to go down the street. And are wondering if it's legitimately a rational decision to bring your 4-year-old across a desert to a country that wants to take her from you. And you still have to choose, of course, because poverty is that big, because violence is that lethal, because instability carried forward from generations is nothing new. You can look anywhere in any ghetto here in the United States and see the same prospect. The only difference, everyone there was born here originally. Everyone there can still, not originally, I should fix that, right? But everyone there can still walk into any U.S. embassy, any U.S. place in the foreign country and be welcomed as a citizen. Yet, you look at the backbone of this economy. You look at everyone in the fields, everyone who puts the flavor in your celery, everyone who takes the time to pull out that kale that is so organic and good for you, everyone who is willing to literally clean your shit in your bathroom because not even a 16-year-old US-born American citizen is willing to work in 7-Eleven because it is demeaning and not worth a US citizenship. And how insulting is that? To know that our entire country was literally built off of people like this, and now our own kids do not want to return there. You literally had grandparents be the foundation of all this bedrock, and you don't even want to return to those roots. You don't even want to understand what a good days of work feels like. And then you want to tell the people who are willing to do that, they do not get to come in here. And you tell me the logic behind that. You tell me a logic behind a country that is so privileged they get to choose every single job they have and will not pick up a job that literally continues this country's everyday life. You tell me people who are so willing to sell their lives to a corporation or college but will not get paid under $12 an hour to do something as meaningful as bring home a check so your children can eat. You tell me the philosophy behind waiting until you get a full medical coverage job before you pay forward anything to someone who is on Medicaid. You tell me what is the reason behind building a democracy if you're gonna live like you're still in tyranny. You tell me the reason behind any of this, and I will get off a stage and stop talking.
Show some love for Franklin again. Woo! This mic is still on fire. Golly. And I'm still slowly waking up, apparently. But anyway, anyone else from the crowd want to take a stab at this? Going once? Hey, right here, down the middle.
Let it go, let it go, let it break, let it ache, let it heal. My heart has pieces missing, my thoughts become a prison. I've been in codependent relationships, I admit it. It's hard to see when you're in it.
Give it up for Roland, please.
My friends call me Pablo Picasso Cruz. I like to joke, but my family says I write very serious, so they actually want me to start using my poetic voice. So that, first of all, I'll tell you a little about me. 2017, I graduated from Community College of Aurora, Colorado Film School. I was born here in Denver, in Auraria. I was raised in Brighton. From 6 years old to 14, I worked with my mother's in the field, following her. Well, I'm the second to the oldest, and there's 7 of us boys and 3 girls. Well, one of the things is that you can already see that I'm a little old to even be going into a new business, but I'm going into Bright On audio, video, media production, and distribution. I'm a writer, I'm a director, but because I write too seriously, my family thought that I should use my poetic voice. So I'm going to start with this: a whittle and a whaddle with a rattle. One day Whittle said to Waddle, "Let's go to tattle on little Rosie the nosy." Rosie had a nosy like a totem pole, and it went up and it went down all around. Rosie was too much when they would touch. It's a wonder they could clutch. Clutch each other like no other. Let no one bother except mother and brother. Her father was no bother except at night when they would get in a fight. He would warn Whittle to stay in the middle until he could figure out the riddle. A riddle of a question to share. What if you have me and wanted to share me, but if you shared me, you would never have me? What is it, Whittle? Whittle sat in the middle to solve the riddle, and as he sat day and night and day, Whittle began to say, "How can a day begin without no end?" to Rosie's father. The father was stumped, so Whittle was pumped, and he said, "If I tell you the answer, can you answer the question for my digestion?" The father said, "Sure." Then Whittle said, "In outer space, a place with plenty of space, no day or night." The father was amazed and in disgrace now. He had to answer the riddle to meet in the middle. In place. It's a secret. A secret once told is no longer a secret to unfold. If you share it, you will never dare to have it anymore. Whittle and Rosie's father laughed as they opened the door to get off the middle of the floor. It all made sense, with no pretense, to set up no fence, and to move on with the moment in time to unwind and continue this rhyme for the mind, the rattle for the battle. This is to focus on mortal human beings, not hocus pocus or a magical solution for a resolution of humanity, but to keep our sanity. The games of the elite are bound to repeat, and their ideas to cheat us and confuse us, just to use us. In 1913, the elite started the Federal Reserve for world domination with a combination of governments to help them keep things in place to control the whole human race. They give a little and take a lot and keep you in the boiling pot. And as we move on to a new world order, they will not support her, but you will forevermore, in and out the door. This world will only change and rearrange if you have a paradigm shift. If you get the drift. A drift is not just to move right or left, but to thrive with worldviews of fair understanding, not grandstanding. Time waits for no one, and either we are counting time or making time count. Climbing the mountain of big problems with the best minds for humanity before insanity. Bill Gates and Warren Buffett already know part of the answer, and it is not just subjugation and rural frustration for cheap labor. Capitalism has to change and rearrange as we move on to a new world order to support her. This is a message from one and all before the fall in more world wars, death and destruction, in force creating force, repeating the natural law in a physics principle. In physics, tension is described as a pulling force transmitted actually or action-reaction, pair of forces acting on each other at said element. Tension could be the opposite of compression, but can be independent to gain potential energy to return to the relaxed state of being in neutrons or pound force called passive forces, or an acceleration and a net force is present in the system. They call it potential. If you answer a question, I can give you a new direction, but only as a truth seeker to have a truthful base in the right thriving direction, a correction. Once upon a time, Whittle said to Waddle, "I was wondering about Rosie's nose. To suppose, what if she wiggled her nose like a rabbit and made it a habit? Would it shrink in a wink? Nothing ventured, nothing gained." A riddle is a fiddle as a griddle to cook with, within the mind, so we can understand the right questions in our hand. "What is the more you take, the more you leave behind?" Whittle asked Waddle. Waddle was stumped as he sat on his rump for hours, and then he came up with a question for Whittle. How can you live without water, food, and breathe? Whittle thought for a moment and said, that's kind of hard, but I think maybe in death, without a breath. Waddle said, how did you figure that out so fast? And Whittle said, give me some bread and I'll tell you how. Get on the right side of me. It's burning inside of me. My left brain talked to my right side, and I kick it around upside down, and I find things ridiculous. Now, what ends all that begins? The quickest thing possible, but not impossible, is a thought in our head. Now, give me some more bread. Hee hee ha ha. Waddle, the answer to my riddle is the more you take, the more you leave behind, is steps. The more steps taken in life, the more you leave behind searching for things to find. Some people try to kill time, but time has no end for you to befriend. Make time count and do not count time because time waits for no one. Whittle, except destiny. Whittle and Waddle would never go to battle because war is a problem of force. In the first law of thermodynamics, the law of conservation of energy states that energy can neither be created nor destroyed, but only transferred and changed from one form to another. Force against force will always create counterforce, using different parts of energy as applied force, a gravitational force, normal force, a fictional force, an air-resistant force, a tension force, or a spring force. A light turned on seems to produce energy. However, it is the electrical energy that is converted, creating the change. A paradigm shift is important to understand life from many different points of view, to thrive, alive, in a busy beehive, respectfully. Thank you. Sometimes I talk about myself because at this age and stage, I better get it on or forget it. This other one is poor fool. From the moment I walked into my mother's house, I knew something was wrong. My mom was sitting in her recliner in the front room, and my baby brother was down on her feet. He had just washed her feet, and now he was soaking them in warm water. I asked him what he was doing, and he said he was forcing our mom to be uncomfortable so he can cut her toenails. I warned him if he hurt her, I was going to hurt him. And our mother smiled. I got mad and said, Mom, before long he's going to be kissing your feet, and sure enough, he started kissing them. I'm mad and I'm jealous. He beat me to the punch. I'm going to beat him up. Another time I went down to my mom's house and drove in the back. I got down and walked in the back room into the kitchen, and I was walking in. My tall brother, 6'6", was walking into the kitchen from the front room with his arm over my mom's shoulder, 5'2". And he was bending down to kiss her, and I hollered at him, "What do you think you're doing?" And he smiled at me and kissed her anyway. I hollered and I said, "Mom, he's looking for trouble." Mom says, "Good trouble, son." And I said, "I'm going to beat him up, Mom." And she says, "Beat him up with love, son." So I looked at her and I couldn't believe it. And I said, "But Mom, he's stealing all your sugar." And she said, "Oh, son, I got enough for all of yous." Remember, there's 7 brothers and 3 sisters. My point is that my brother didn't care whether I liked it or not. The problem is that our mom had 10 children, and every day she would focus her best to feed us, please us, and help us do the best we could. Growing up in a poor family was tough, but she knew how to bring us joy and happiness. Poor woman, I made more money than she ever made in her life, if you get the drift. I was making over $200,000 a year when my wife asked me for a divorce. What was the problem? Neglect was my problem with booze, drugs, and other women. I was work-centered with no balance in life and 3 boys just turning teenagers with very little love. My business was controlling me with little time for family, too much stress with 30 men, penalty clauses, and a poor fool. As we learn our lessons growing up, needs have to be satisfied, bills have to be paid, and we're motivated to be centered on work, pleasure, religion, family, and society. Yet the most important in life is to be principle-centered with love in balance. Thank you. I might do one more, and that's it. Okay. Life goes on, a beginning of the end. A signifying significant signal occurred today in a collaborating venture of a proactive individuals striving to move forward on a constructive path. James, John, and Roland, me, yeah. James, or actually Jesse, he controls Studio A and Studio B here. And he's one of my key men at this point going into audio-video media. At different times in life, ends meet for different reasons, meaning and purposes. The insight of this venture is for the present is to remember that the hindsight of the past that can lead to the foresight of the future for the significant reality and tender potential of all in a cell for revolutionary change. The intent is because in the infinite mind, supply is a product, and as the demand increases, value does too. To launch this great platform, we have to understand, the 3 of us, the framework of what will drive the consumer speculation to our space of rewarding form for the online payment with a consumer-friendly interface featured of CLI or GUI, command line interface or graphical user interface. This is to finish up one's constructive process and progress and move on to a thriving future. Basic building blocks require a central core with an outer shell with different elements with unique combinations with different bumps and bonds for the strength as we all interact in this creative venture. Bright on audio, video, media production, and distribution. I tell people, I got a business plan, see? My business plan is, if I make $1 on something that goes viral, and there's over 5.5 million people here in Colorado, I'll do okay. But I'm going global, and nothing can stop me. I don't take pills. Alcohol and drugs are not my problem. Wow. But if I make $1 and I'm going global, at that point, think about it. I already know I'm going to be a millionaire. But wait a second. Listen to this. My mother said, if you ain't happy with a little, you'll never be happy with a lot. And my mother said, if you don't do things for the right reason, don't do them for the wrong reason. Thank you.
Give it up again for Mr. Roland. Oh, cool. As I fix this real quick. I see we got more people in the crowd. That's awesome. That's nice. How's the weather outside? I'm only going to talk about the weather whenever I'm fixing this because that's the first thing that comes to mind. But yeah. All right. It's hot outside. Nice. Let's see. This list. This is a new name. Let's give it up for, I'm going to butcher this name real quick. Aston? Yep, let's go. Let's give it up.
Hello. Give me 1 second. This is the benefit of being in charge of who gets the stuff before the show, is that I can do something special for me. How's everyone? Good. You're almost awake. That's good. Well, hello, everybody. My name is Aston, and I am on the board for Sacred Voices. I've been with this organization for over 4 years now, and yet I've never actually performed on stage here. So I am a first-timer, believe it or not. I'm going to perform a song that I released on my first EP last year. This song is called Alone in a Crowd. Enjoy. Not here, turned invisible, not here, left back at the start, see through, glass among mirrors, see through, water in vodka burden, taking up your space burden, only in the way. Voices all around me, trapped in the sound. No one there to save me, alone in a crowd. Fighting from existence, the silence so loud. Increasing distance, alone in a crowd. Time inches forward, they're all around. Unseen and unheard, alone in a crowd. Laughter, mutual happiness, chatter, new and familiar reaching, trying to find the words, dreaming, floating out elsewhere, difference, taking up your place, stagnant, now and forever. Voices all around me, trapped in the sound. No one there to save me, alone in a crowd. Fading from existence, the silence so loud. Increasing distance, alone in a crowd. Time inches forward, they're all around. Unseen and unheard, alone in a crowd. Alone, it looks so easy, alone, new and familiar, alone, stuck on the outside, alone, alone, alone. Voices all around me, trapped in the sound. No one there to save me, alone in a crowd. Fading from existence, the silence so loud. Increasing distance, alone in a crowd. Time inches forward, they're all around. Unseen and unheard, alone in a crowd. Thank you. Now give it up for your host again, Charlie.
By all means. Woo! Getting wisdom dropped on this stage, music, lyrics, poetry. Oh, it's so beautiful, so beautiful. Let's see what's next on my list as I fix this real quick. I fix it for me. But anyway. So next up, I got Proverb. Let's give it up for him.
Mic check, mic check. Can y'all hear me? Clearly? Can I tell y'all a story? It was the crack of dawn. And I wake up out my sleep at the end of their fight. I saw anger brings out her veins as she hangs up in his face thinking she ended it right. Right. Staring at her as she comes to tell me about her situationship life, you see. She goes with him for the day but lies to try to be with me at the end of the night. And we board the plane of our brains and we both take flight. She got him thinking she working overtime for her business. But come to my place to get this business, you know? Bad decisions. Pray to the Lord for forgiveness, but she's fine and she lets my mind just taste so delicious, you see. I don't even love her. I lust her. I see what she does to him and I don't trust her. And it's plain to see that if she's playing with him, then she'll play with me. But she a good girl, just got herself in a situation. You know that girl meets boy that she hardly knows and they have relations. He falls for her, wants to be with her, but she's in hesitation. Then months go by and she plays this role of being submissive when she didn't even fill out an application. That's when I became her side item to her main dish, just a figment of her imagination. You see, she's not knowing that she's not the only one that I deal with. She emotionally falls for me, but I ain't the one to feel with. I tried to tell her to work it out with him. Give him a chance, she says. Understood. But you don't understand. I tried to do what I can, and him and I should just stay friends. One thing led to another, we wasn't sober, and then the next thing you know, he wants to be my man, and honestly, I'm not trying to be a part of that situationship trend. Damn. What did he do to deserve such pain? And it seems as if it was all a game, so I guess us kings must learn the rules when we got a queen in our hand. She's not ready for that commitment, and there's no commitment to withstand, then she doesn't want to hurt him. So I guess this affair must come to an end, I told her. She slides on my arms as she cries to the floor. I can tell that she just can't take it anymore. She asks, why can't I just be yours? Do you think I'm a whore? Do you think we're done for? If you don't learn to control your emotions, they are so quick to leave you insecure. Then the ocean in her eyes began to pour. And I feel like it was crunch time, but I had no words to score, so when I picked her up to hold her, he comes knocking angrily at the door. Situationships. Hey, can you hand me my water, brothers, please? Can you hand me my water? My bad, I don't know why I forgot to bring it up here. Once again, my name is Anthony Crawford. My stage name is Proverb. Let me get a little swig real quick. My stage name is Proverb. I'm from Los Angeles, California. I now reside in Oklahoma City. I teach out there. I'm a teacher. I'm an author. I'm a poet. And I host Dope Poetry Night every Wednesday night at the ICE Event Center. So if you're ever in Oklahoma City, just come through. It's free. It's all love. I'm in Colorado because I'm doing this. I was doing a Boys to Men Leadership Summit for the Crowley Foundation, and today was our last day of the summit. We had our ceremony, and all the boys went back home, and it was an emotional time. Everybody, we don't understand that suicide is really plaguing our young boys' mind, and if we don't do something about it, then that cycle will continue. So we came to bring love to our black young boys, and we're going to continue to do it. I will be back in Denver, Colorado on July 26th at the Speakeasy. The Crowley Foundation will be throwing a fundraiser to raise more money for the young boys here in Denver, Colorado. So if you're not doing anything, I have flyers. I will give it to y'all. Hopefully to see y'all there. Hopefully I will support. This next piece kind of sums up the things that we kind of teach our young boys. If we don't give our young boys the truth, then violence will happen. Because they will walk around with those lies not knowing what to believe in. So we need to give our young boys the truth. They wonder why my mind gone. The tears of my heart flow. But you know we gotta stay strong until we find our way home. They wonder why my mind gone. The tears of my heart flow. But you know we gotta stay strong until we find our way home. This is what I consider to be mental health. Only because society never taught me to truly understand and love myself, but instead, they replaced their nooses with guns. They flooded our communities with drugs, gave us trauma with drama, and had the audacity to still blame us for our conditions. When slavery just ended, not really. But instead of giving our people the proper help, they gave us this concept of health or just threw us in prisons, treated us to mental institutions, yet they wonder why our youngest are still shooting. During natural disasters, they abandon us and wonder why we looting. Yeah, we're sinning, but what y'all doing? And they wonder why my mind gone. They wonder why my mind gone. Even Obama called us thugs. So I have to speak this for that little girl who needed her father's hug, that boy from the gutter who needed his mother's love, for that man who can't stand the church or the courthouse because he's tired of seeing a judge. Each year we die from diseases, homicides, and suicides because we reside in a country that hides the resources and cures to fix things. Y'all don't see that my people need uplifting? I guess it's just up to us to shift things. This is rhythm and poetry. One thing we did teach the boys is how to be vulnerable. You know, if you're not willing to share and be honest with who you are, then you will never heal. So, the teacher, the poet, the author that y'all see in front of you, I ain't always been like this, you dig? So, one thing that I struggle with is lust. You know, matter of fact, we all got our own deadly sin that we, struggle with. So mine is lust. And because of lust, I hurt a lot of women in my lifetime, you know what I'm saying? So it wasn't until I wrote this poem for me to realize, like, all right, brother, like, you gotta get yourself together. You can't be doing our black queens like this, you know what I'm saying? We knew that sex ruins things if a friendship isn't established, but we did it anyway. Sending nasty text messages left us both damaged. Carrying more baggages was pushes the truth out the way. Now day to day, I escape to music and Mary's Jane. Hiding away just to get away and thinking universal thoughts about your Milky Way. Then we'll lay into the night, no matter what time of day. You'll turn away and I just pull you close to me. It was a beautiful beginning for you, but over to me. And I tried this, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna go to the second verse. All right, my bad. But I was foul though. Shouldn't have been foul. You didn't have to foul, coach. I was foul though. Shouldn't have been foul. You didn't have to foul, coach. You just caught me at a bad time, love. So much darkness surrounded my heart to my mind that I was so blinded by the joy you gave when I was so deep in you, it altered your spine, love. You were extra cool and shit. Someone I didn't mind fooling around with. But along our sex spree, I noticed where you lay next to me. Are you used to being held? Do you have a man? If so, then why are you busy sexing me? A year in and I'm the sideline. Whether it was 2 or 4 in the morning, she find time to come over and enjoy some bump and grind. Sexing you, I didn't mind, and between love and hate, we found that thin line. You wanted more, but I denied you. Anger and lies moved and surrounded this hurtful place that we were in. And though I was inside you more than him, you didn't understand me, and I didn't understand you. And since sex can't build up a friendship, we fought till I put my hands on you. Love, I'm sorry and I apologize. I was foul. I ain't gonna lie, I was foul. But two wrongs don't make a right. I was foul. You should have known I wasn't gonna be the one for you. Sorry for pulling the gun on you. I was foul. Hey, y'all, thank y'all so much. If you want to follow me on social media, I'm on Instagram at Anthony_Crawford Jr. Once again, that's Anthony_Crawford Jr. I'm also on Facebook. Just type in Anthony Crawford Jr. And if you want a flyer, I'll give you one. So, thank you.
First, notice.
Give it up again for Proverb. What's up? The list is already done. Chill. I'm not yelling. It's the mic. But anyway, anyone else from the crowd? Going once. Oh, come right up. Yes. Oh. We got two more people. Let's give it up for Miss Josie.
She is not a bridge to your ocean-wide.
Yo, it's mad bright up here. And this is way too tall. I love you, boo. Hold up, y'all. How do you do this? Okay. Thank you, love. Hello, everybody. It's really cool to see some new faces in here. Sorry. Well, so I don't perform very often. I write a lot, but I'm not really a stage person. So I'm going to read two pieces that are pretty different, but very much connected. And if you can't tell, I'm very pregnant. So one of them will be about that. Well, maybe both. We'll see. So, okay. The first one I think is really nice that it's coming after this one that our brother just did, because I'm feeling some type of way, you know what I'm saying? All right. All right, here we go. Tender flesh like this has birthed entire nations, but still destroys many more. I am the continent lost men sail to, the fertile earth they brave waters for, the one they pray to, conquer and possess, caress then discard. They don't expect the bloodshed that open thighs release, or the serpent tongue that summons their skin to peel back, or the obsidian eyes that pierce through their gut so they can feel a racing heartbeat for the first time. They do not expect me, or the sting of rejection when my back doesn't curve out to spell welcome home. I am conjured from sacred waters, sweet stains of revolt, and electric screams to the sky. This story of magic has long kept these lost men coming for the land, but never to care for the soil, or to plant seeds for future harvest. These poor lost men cannot recognize the riches of clay earth body, burning coal heart. They have always come to take a treasure, but a treasure of ancient creation can never be stolen. This land is the bearer of the sweetest fruits that will defend the warrior nation of Semanahuac, our peoples, and I will live on beyond this manifestation of their supposed destiny. But what is ours is coming, but never for the pleasure of these disoriented foreigners. There is no feast for them here. I am the one that devours. So that's that one. Yo, I'm nervous up here. I don't like this. Oh, and look at me. Hello. It's bad weird seeing myself up there. Okay. This one is, so I've been writing a lot, right, for our baby. And shout out to my baby daddy. That fool's not here, but he brought me food, so. So that's awesome. All right, and this one I wrote for our baby, but also to share with you all. In time, mi vida divina, when you so choose, my bones will spread open and my flesh will cradle you. Fire and canto will welcome you. Friends will surround you. You will dance out and join us here as my hips bend to drum beats, melodies joined in sacred circle. I will birth you. But you, my little seed of revolution, have already birthed a mama. Our hands will join long after our hearts have, and we will have our first kiss. And I commit to keeping your heart and making room for you to grow, fly, create, just be. And you already are the greatest love story ever written. Nuestra creación, nuestra salvación, nuestra bendición, y nuestra revolución. That's it. Thank you all so much.
It's not the old basement, but when I think about it,
Give it up again for Josie. Next up on the mic, we got another individual. What's her name?
My name is Layla.
We got Layla. Give it up.
What's up, guys? I don't know how to lower this. There we go. So, I'm not much of a performer either. This is kind of going to be like a rap, but I think rap is a form of poetry. We got the merch booth also over there. We've got some custom kicks. We got some shirts, photos, prints, if you want to check it out. You can also leave flyers over there if you have any more. All right. So this is called Miss Yourself. I'm super nervous. Thank you. All right. You ever miss yourself? And I know that sounds crazy, but I'm talking about that self before that heartbreaker, before someone betrayed you. And maybe if you can relate, just go ahead, take a second, baby. Don't drive yourself crazy over things you can't change. You gotta learn that most things never remain the same. Same people love you, will turn around and hate you, will play you. Just don't let them phase you or change you. When people change up, just trust that you'll be the one that never switched up. Hate what they did, but we still love them. I never trust them, but I trust that there will never be another like me or like a lover. Like I think I wish mama raised me to be more selfish. I think it'd help if I be more selfish when it come down to certain things. Like my time and energy, pops told me never chase anything but a dream. And it's sad to think you'll always be here with me. Thought you was a friend of me, now you just a memory. You didn't have to pretend to be something that I thought was meant to be. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Even the stage on fire. But but anyway, we got anyone else who wants to be on the stage real quick? Go West. Oh, we do? Okay.
All right, check this out. I'm gonna have to read this because you know I'm not officially a poet. But I got some things that I need to just get off my chest. So I go by KC. My name is Kenneth Crowley. I'm the executive director of the Crowley Foundation. Proverb is my nephew. We just did this big summit in Boulder. So I wrote this poem for parents, but I was talking to a group of young men who we mentor. So when you hear me say all y'all, I'm actually talking about a group of young men, right? So we have this problem when we work with young people that their parents think we babysitters, right? They want to drop them off and leave and not show up for several hours. So the name of this poem is called I Am Not Your Babysitter. Right? Right? Check me out. Now don't get me wrong. I love what I do. I love my community. You, and you. But when the workshop starts at 8, don't be walking in at 9. How can I teach your boy to be a man if you can't get him here on time? Dating and sexual harassment, spiritual balance, drugs and alcohol, we did that. College prep, dress for success, leadership development, we did that. So when you pull up in the morning, get out your car, walk inside and take a look around. Meet me, my family, our staff, the facilitators, because we about to put it down. Don't be pulling up with excuses talking about my son's in the bed. Mama, I'm tired. I was up all night. That's the shit he said. Mama, that ain't important. I don't need no boys to men. Excuses, excuses, excuses. Here we go again. We work hard to save these cats. We do it for the hood. Eastside Park Hill, Montbello, Aurora. I don't even trip because it's all good. So holla at your boy. You know how we get down. I keep it in the family so the love can move around. My wife, my son, and my daughter too. My other son and other son. Matter of fact, all y'all my son, fool. Thank you. Appreciate y'all.
You always gave me.
Ooh, give it up once again. All right. Anyone else? Oh, what? Oh, hold up. Right here. There we go. Right there. This time I didn't mess up.
I promise mom that I'm gonna do it with this rapping.
What's up, y'all? How y'all doing? I go by Shinobi. I'm an MC. So I didn't really come with too much poetic stuff prepared, but pretty good off the top, so we'll see what we can do. But yeah. What's life for someone like me? Shit, where do I begin? You don't gotta look that hard, just look at the color of my skin. What's life for someone like me? What's life for someone like me? I don't even know where to start. But I can tell you one thing, if you want to start with a start, it'll probably take some heart. And a little bit of courage. But it's not something that you wish on. This is something that we gotta go get when everybody wants to see you get shit on. And excuse my language, but I'm just keeping it real. I'm freestyling a poem, just really trying to tell y'all how I feel. Shit's crazy for someone like me, growing up the way I did. Dad had 4 kids, still left my mom on some dumb shit. But I don't hate the nigga. I don't got hate for nobody. I just y'all gotta forgive me. I'm just trying to get y'all some stuff off the top, you know, for sure. But we gonna keep it floating, man. We gonna keep it floating. What's life like for someone like me? You could probably already tell. Life for someone in my position, the color of my skin, we get put through hell. And I don't even want to bring up the fact about white people, but sometimes I act a certain way in front of white people because they like to say, oh, I don't like those people. So I got to keep my composure when I'm around those folks. But I love you to death. And that's something that I know. I don't hate any color, race, shape, or form. All I like to do is smoke weed, make music, and perform. So I'm not really with the whole, you this and I'm that. You white and I'm black. We all bleed the same blood, and that's a fact. So what you got and I don't have doesn't really matter to me. Because what matters to me is family and all that other real stuff that matters to me. And I'm keeping it kind of simple, but it still makes sense. You know the whole thing. If you don't make dollars, you don't make sense. Well, I tried to make sense of my life and still can't. But shit, who can? We all out here just trying to do what we can. One man, working 9 to 5, going hard as I can. I swear I just got off work about 2 hours ago. Laid 15 pallets of sod and took up 4 wheelbarrows of dirt. Man, I tell you straight up, my legs hurt. But you know what hurts even worse? Is the pain that we've been carrying. The family we've been burying. Even the fucked up people you be marrying. Like, things get crazy if you don't take control of your life. All I can say is I've definitely tried to take control of mine. And ain't nobody gonna sit there and say that they controlling mine. That's not a fact. I control mine. Using the masses to let them control your mind, shit, it's only a matter of time. But I think that's all I got. Thank y'all. If you want to follow me on social media, Shinobi Third Eye. I got a show coming up on Sunday at Coyote's True Blue, June 30th on Sunday. I got tickets available if you guys want to show up. They're $10, you know, so if anybody wants to come see some live music, good music, there's going to be a lot of dope performers, a lot of people in the building. So if y'all want to come through, just come holler at me for tickets. Thank you.
Give it up again for Shinobi. All right. Franklin, want to come up again? All right, we got Franklin, round 2.
So I got super moved because there's a lot of self-love poems in the room. And so I wanted to share a self-love poem with the peoples. Because, you know, you got to love yourself. So it's true. On the days you are your own worst enemy, laugh loud, even if you do sound like a hyena. Sometimes it feels like the world is rushing you to succeed and asking you to adult as if anybody has any idea on how to actually adult. When you find yourself still making less than the best choices, crack open a can of nostalgia, laugh at your most socially awkward moments, the time that I was actually caught naked in front of family. Remember the stress and the struggle, the mountain that as you got older somehow grew into a prairie dog hole. Be the person who's not afraid to jump in and strong enough to come out with you. Show yourself you love yourself enough to be unapologetically you, especially when the sirens and the riot shields come. The ones that arrive every single time you run out of money, hope, or the trust you sowed in a country. Be your own best friend who saw you hatch from the egg, grow wings, fly straight up into the sun, roast your own skin and fall, be there when you are shish kebab by the prongs of fate and circumstance. Don't panic at your busted frame. Love yourself enough to rebuild yourself. Love yourself enough to parent yourself. Love yourself enough to get wild with yourself. Love yourself enough to get hype with yourself. Love yourself enough to reenact X-Men with yourself. Love yourself to cook naked for yourself. Love yourself like you could love your family. Show them how you can grow wings over and over again. Love yourself like you could love your heroes, the ones who don't even know how great they are. Love yourself like you don't even know how great you are. Like everything that happens to you happens on purpose and nothing was a mistake. Not even the booby trap and the pitfall. Succeeding can be easy, but learning to love yourself along the way is why we need friends like ourselves. So be your own Justice League Unlimited. Soup into your own head or imagination and say all the stupid shit you want. Hell, say it out loud and then back yourself up. Be the kind of friend who's okay with plotting out a theoretical crime spree. Be the kind of friend who's okay with bussing out at a nightclub. Be the kind of friend who's okay with letting you crash out if you ever lose your house or your heart or your way. Allow yourself to germinate the way you're supposed to. Grow again like árboles de piñones. Water your own roots, trim your own branches, sculpt your own crown. Be the kind of friend you would end up marrying. The kind that would make you laugh over stupid shit like waffles and cry over nerdy things like Star Trek and love you in all the right ways like forever wouldn't even be long enough. Love yourself like forever wouldn't even be long enough. Like even after we die, we would love our spirits wherever we would end up.
Anyway, anyone else want another crack at being on stage? Anyone else? Bree, you want to come up? All right, come on up, Bree. Give it up for Bree.
I don't know how I feel about going up right after Franklin, because shit. I know. I love myself so much, man. I don't write no poems about it, but still. I just have one because I like to perform it all the time. I recently wrote it like last week at 8:20 in the morning for obvious reasons. So, to the men at gas stations who think my body is another grade of gas to purchase to fuel their ego, whose eyes glaze over me from 3 pumps between us, who say to me, "Where are you from?" or "You're so beautiful," or "African princess," or "You should smile more." 1, I am neither of those things. It is 8:20 in the morning. I don't have to smile unless you're buying my gas, and even still, I won't smile. 2, I am a burning rage fire ready to fuck up you in your car. Try me. 3, you are old enough to be my daddy, my uncle, and my grandfather combined. Please take your dusty ass somewhere. 4, your body is a foreigner to mine. Treat it with respect. Give me the offerings of silence. Get your gas and don't say a single thing to me. Thank you.
Give it up for Bree again. Anyone else before we close out? Oh, y'all already know I'm going to do a couple. I got 2 on deck. Kind of. But anyway, so recently, this past month, I got a new little job. I can't say the specifics because it deals with like crime victims and whatnot, but in a general, like broad brushstroke, I'm a receptionist, and it's a 9-to-5 job, and I do have a desk with a PC. It was outdated, but they refurbished it. Refurbished. But yeah, so that's how I've been looking all snazzy, especially now, because they got a uniform apparently I was never known of. But yeah, so during my lunch breaks, I decided to write this piece. And it really hits home to me because I'm a first generation individual at this point, since college is a thing of the past. And especially if y'all have been keeping up with current news or all that nonsense that is the White House and the crisis, quote unquote, down in the South, which is not, it's a systemic issue, but that's a whole different TED Talk. Let's get on with it. My frontera, haphazardly crisscrossing down mi frente, you can see how my body is so divisively splits, where my mismatched comal burnt parchment skin tells not 1 or 2, but 3 diferentes stories, patchwork truths that wow, but not, woo, English, gotta love it. Anyway, but 3 diferentes stories, patchwork truths, not another make-believe Hollywood fairy tale where you constantly fail to not see past the color of my syllables, living interwoven into every waking moment. My café, Nestle knockoff eyes shine through your white lies as you try to tell me for the 99th time that I will only be taken seriously if I wear a suit and a tie, as if it was my funeral for me, just so you can feel safe, since I'm not behind bars. I hold my right hand straight up to the purple sky and swear an oath that my words are bound by the same book of laws that keep people like me behind bars. My first story, keeping my right balled up fist into the air, is that savage mongrel spirit, code called mojado, wetback, frijolero, beaner, or my all-time favorite, a bad hombre, okay? I was taught that the pen is mightier than the sword, but thank my luck that I was given my family's heirloom of being heavy-handed as a necessary accessory, living out my page-to-page life, where my face is enough to cause you to shiver and shake as you second-guess whether or not to take me on. My first story is the reclaiming of my brownness, where my complexion leaves crowds perplexed as to whether I am gringo enough to be included at the table to fulfill their ethical diversity quota. or to whether or not I'm Mexican enough to be invited to la carne asada, kicking back, listening to some corridos or old school tunes. Ni de aquí ni de allá. Nah, fam. Soy de aquí y también soy de allá. My second story is the left side of my body, where my family history was once lost to me. A once empty void, ice cold like El Rio Grande. It brims to the rim with the constant updated knowledge of where my native roots that provide the reasons for you to give me such venomous questioning looks. Desde teniendo gotta love this. Desde teniendo jardines. There we go. I know Spanish and I know English. Ooh. And I'm losing both of them at the same time. Anyway, desde teniendo jardines llenas con las tres hermanas, hasta usando hojas de hierbabuena para dormir después de la cena, prepárate que te haga una limpia por ser tan mensa de darme un sobrenombre que más te conviene, nada más porque es tan difícil para que entiendes que lo que se ve no se pregunta. And my third story, this American-made barbed wire fence that cuts me down to my bone from my head to my toes in this body that I have on loan. What was meant to divide and conquer binds my tortilla burrito skin ever so tightly that my Mushe antifreeze blood seeps through and stains this white canvased world, painting my rainbow words across this blank gaping faces, stinging them worse than a six-pack of bear mace. This is my voice, a patchwork of beginnings and ends, a fighter and a lover, a devilishly handsome brown chameleon donde cambio de cualquier color. The only inheritance I got from my past and the only tool I have to build my own legacy. Can't you see? This is me and this is my frontera. Yeah, that's the first one. Woo! That took a bit out of me. Tongue twisters and all. Gotta love it. When you're multilingual and you start losing vernacular in both languages, it's a sad existence. But anyway. So this next one, it's a unique one, I'll say the least. It's called I barely learned of this like category of poetry in my last poetry workshop that I had. It's called a persona poem. I don't know the definition of a persona poem. I heard one, I liked it, tried to imitate it. Here's the product. But anyway, so let's go. As a member of the Boulder community and the University of Colorado Boulder, I agree to act with honor, integrity, and accountability in my interactions with students, faculty, staff, and neighbors. Respect the rights of others and accept our differences. Contribute to the greater good of this community. I will strive to uphold these principles in all aspects of my collegiate experience and beyond. What I just read was the Colorado Creed. It's something, if you go to CU Boulder, they always mention it. They throw it around. I eventually decided to look it up. I was, that's interesting. If only it was actually upheld. But anyway, that's another TED Talk that I could go off on. So on to the rest of this. A silent contract I did not know I signed in blood until I almost was kicked out of CU for standing up against the disrespect I was hearing when I worked in student government. Through political smoke and mirrors where black and brown voices infect the very air and are not meant for my proud Aryan white ears. A mongrel backwater tone where I twist and moan as another crybaby tries to tell me that America is not free, that cops are not our friends, and that racism still exists. You see, I don't see color. I see past you and your culture to the thing you truly are. You criticize because we want to prioritize making sure that southern wall keeps us safe. Didn't you watch Game of Thrones? Would you want brown wetbacks to break through, spreading their rampant gang violence and drugs? You think grayscale is bad? Watch when you see grotesque mixed anchor babies run around taken away from our taxes, since they're always asking for handouts like their welfare checks. Tarnishing our patriotic image with their broken English, they should learn how to speak in America. I can't be racist because I have my friend Jamal, who happens to be black, my housekeeper Consuela, who's Mexican, and I work with Gary, who's a gay person. I can't believe you just called me a stale piece of Wonder Bread. The audacity. My bleached out skin has been proudly passed down my family since they first discovered this savage land in 1492. My red MAGA hat is as American as the bald eagle. Can't you see? Donald Trump has a plan to make us great again. My family hasn't been able to take our usual third trip to France because those damn camel jockeys, sand demon terrorists that keep on yelling gibberish and blowing themselves up can't find any other thing to do with themselves. Why can't they learn not to invade other countries to cause harm and instill fear into their children? We don't do that. Why can't they stop spewing hate-filled words all in the name of their religious beliefs? Better yet, holy promised monetary gains. We don't do that. Why can't they stop silencing people who don't want to be on the wrong side of history for the 10th time in a row? We don't do that. Why can't they stop separating children from their parents just to make a quick buck? We don't do that. I'm a proud American where I have the rights to visit my family's summer and winter home, where I have the rights to exotify black and brown bodies and catcall them, where I have the right to be white on this God-given American soil, the home of the brave and the land of our white freedoms, where I can hold on to the proud Confederate past my family worships, better times where we didn't need to be so politically correct when it came to talking about these things like racism, sexism, and all these other isms. This is where I paint my red, white, and blue striped flag into the backs of savages, pinning them down with my needs that should come first since my family pulled themselves up from their bootstraps. So why can't you? Yeah, that's about it. So, woo, that last one. But anyway, orale. So with that, we gonna conclude another Friday open mic here at Sacred Voices. And I believe Aston has another announcement. And Jenny.
I'm back. It's loud.
Hello.
So we just came up here to talk about the fact that Cafe Cultura has evolved now into Sacred Voices. We went through this name change process. It has its roots back in April when we had a meeting. It was here. We had a lot of people from the community come by, and part of their suggestions were that because of how much we've changed and because of everything that's happened, it seemed appropriate to have a name change to go along with that. I don't know if you have anything.
Yeah, so Sacred Voices is our new name. I think it really encompasses kind of what we're about and just remembering how sacred every one of our voices is, whether that's spoken or written or whatever form.
Because really it's about the youth expressing themselves in whatever way they see most comfortable. We've always been a poetry and spoken word based organization, and that's mainly our focus, but poetry isn't always spoken. Poetry can be written. You know, I came up here and I did a song. I'm not even a poet. Many people have expressed their voices in different ways, and we find that to be sacred, hence Sacred Voices. So we're going to turn the lights on here in a second, and we have some vendors here. We have some cupcakes here. They were gourmet. They're delicious. They're really good.
So good.
We're asking $3 for them, and part of that is just to go towards our new workshops that we're going to be coming out with soon. It's going to go directly into those programs. We also have, Jenny, you have your jewelry that you're vending.
Yeah, so I do beadwork, so I have a ton of stuff over there. I hand make everything. Yeah, let me know if you have questions.
And we have another vendor over. What is your business name again?
This is
Triple V Industries. Be sure to check them out. Please support us and support each other, our local businesses here. We're all in this together. And thank you all for coming tonight.
Also, last little thing. If you guys know anybody that wants to vend or would like to be featured or anything like that, let us know. Just grab one of the board members, Josie, myself, or Aston, and you can get some more information. Thank y'all.
Have a good night.